Here's the story of a bearish trader who was selling into every single bounce. All his orders hit the bid, such a sucker. Sometimes you buy the dip. It's the story of a bullish trader who was buying each down tick he saw. He averaged down and rarely stopped out on the edge of blowing up. Until one day they subscribed to Routine Trader and realized they can do both buy and sell. That there are two sides to Mr. Market, and beating him both ways is pretty swell. Yeah, pretty swell, so very swell. Beating Mr. Market both ways is pretty swell.
Cheers to a new trading day, and cheers to Stong's retail trading team. This is Master coming to you live on this lovely casual Friday from Puppet Show Central, and this is your routine briefing. Got my jersey on today because we are in the game, as they say. This is looking like it's going to be what we call a good old-fashioned trend day, and we're gonna dress accordingly. So I'm gonna go ahead and minimize this screen here, and we're gonna jump right into today's action, beginning with this execution chart. If I can switch screens here, stand by. Okay, so let's take a look. Maybe. There we go. Alrighty, so I have already a full position on, so it's the first time in good while that I've had a full position on this early in the day. I think the last was a little earlier in May here. I've had one other time that day's shaped up to look like this early in May, so we'll see. For me, I am hoping that the bulls continue. It's pretty simple. I got that breakout signal. I do not have anything around here for us to go lower, and so that's just kind of what's going on in the execution chart. I'm just going to ride that until they trail me out, and I really hope they don't trail me out, because it'd be really swell to just get a nice clean trend day from the perspective of Routine Trader. At least I know some of you selling the longer dated options, and those of you maybe in 0DT don't like these days that much, but I do. So that's what we have going on in the execution chart. Nothing really too much to talk about. Just playing that breakout. That breakout level is above the overnight high, and just sitting on it, letting it ride. We'll look at our price action charts here in a sec, just to kind of see where and when this thing might peter out. Right now, would not be surprised to see really any type of pullback. We've had a 40-point IB range, as you'll see in that warp document, which is the widest I can remember for a while now. I don't know if we've had one in the past several months, so I'd have to go back and check for that. But really, really wide range. On these trend days, you don't often see actually the IB range, so that first hour range quite this wide. Usually that signals rotation later in the day, which is why I'm saying I won't be surprised to see myself get stopped out, trailed out on the initial position, and then outright stopped out on that ad. I got the ad at 950, 950 as in 420950 on the ES, and that was just a mechanical ad. Those are pretty low probability trades, but when they do work out, it's really nice there. So playing the breakout. Long story short, so I'm going to take a sip of water, and we're going to go to our warm-up document and talk a little more about what's going on there. Alrighty. So, another nice-looking inventory. When I say nice-looking inventory, it means that not trap prone. So when you see like those net long or net short, and even more so 100% net long or net short, you very often see those unwound. What we had overnight, we actually had an extremely weak Globex. I was watching it earlier in the night. It was really flat to start off, and then it got super weak, and then they recovered. So really a lot of bouncing activity there, more basing, more consolidating, and really set the bulls up for this nice trend move today. If you look at the open test drive, that is bullish, so above 65. I am retaining a bullish assumption. Not saying much because 65 is now 40 points away, more than 40 points away, 50 points away almost. So, yeah, thank you, Sherlock, for that deep insight there. Like I said, these breakout days, I don't really try to get too fancy. I play that breakout, and then if it does turn around and we get that fake break look, which is just a uh, close back below that value area high, which, by the way, right now is at about 200 itself. So then we'll explore maybe a fake break play, as I like to say. Yet until then, still trend. You can see that in the TPO. We'll go to the TPO in a second here. There is no question. There's no fancy read on today's action. It's just playing that breakout until the breakout fails. So simple enough there. You can see the expected move today in SPX is 41.80, the top side of that. So we are well beyond the expected move, and we do reach outlier status above 42.10, which we have not yet hit. In fact, I have a trading friend who was able to pick up some 42.10 short calls for a decent price. So that is a very unlikely event. Keep in mind, I will tell you just how unlikely it is. I believe that is I'm not sure if it's a 2 or 3 sigma event. I really should look into that. But it's tail event. Long story short, tail event, very unlikely to close above 42.10 probabilistically. So we'll see what happens there. I'm watching my chart here as we get another steep pullback. Let's see if the bears put in a double top or if the bulls hold it here. Again, for me, the stops begin at about 42.01. So at a retest of that value area high is where I'm going to get that first stop. So bulls are holding for now. I hope we just base here for a little bit. We'll see what happens. So anyways, yeah, so looking at our levels right now, I do not have an upside level here that I'm looking at. I'm kind of waiting for this red candle to print. We have seen a little bit of action on the resistance side here. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a 42.12 for now. I might change that after this 10-minute candle prints if the bulls really get a big move here, but I think this 42.12, this says 41.12. I think this 42.12 level is going to be a decent level, and we'll look at others, and I'll add some more. I'm going to kind of do what I did yesterday, adding the other levels on this briefing so that anybody paying attention can get some value out of that, seeing what I look at, and maybe you might want to model it and look at something similar yourself. So that's what we got going on there. So I am going to conclude the warm-up document right there. So that's what we got going on. So just to review real quick before we hop into the price action, I do have these cool little threads that I'm going to start posting in lieu of that morning newsletter. Evening newsletter is going to be the new. Sorry, here, 1 second. Evening newsletter is going to be the new move for me, and that's just because I think I can add a little more value by packaging everything up toward the end of the day. So if you follow me on Twitter, I will be producing these little threads for you kind of midday-ish after that power hour sesh, just to kind of give a general overview of what's going on. So I must say, got to bring attention to numbers 3 to 8 on this playlist here. So this playlist will not change until about noon today. So if you see this before noon on the 26th, noon Eastern on the 26th, numbers 3 to 8, excellent songs. Anyways, I digress. Going to what you're here for, which is the actual price action and macro side of things, I guess. I want to just kind of bring your attention to the SPY chart. So if you look at the bias here, it's very simple. It was above 416 is bullish and below 410 is bearish. Where are we now? We're above that 416, so I think bulls now have full control. Kind of adding to that is where the /VX is right now as well. Above 2020, bears had the slight edge. As I said down here, it's kind of neutral to short. Nothing really crazy there. Yet now, as we have lost 2020, in fact, we are down almost 7% on the /VX on the day so far. We have to give full respect to the bulls, and I'm not personally interested in any type of longer dated short positions quite yet. So I am going to talk about in the price action section, which we're going to move to right now, kind of those levels where I may change my mind, and then we can go from there. So going back to this chart here, thankfully did not get stopped out quite yet on that little move. We're going to go look at the macro chart, and I'm just going to I keep looking over here. I'm keeping my eye on it in case we do get that aggressive move down. One of the best trades for my system is a breakout that turns into a fake break. In fact, those days pay for a lot of the year. Those are my best days of the year, so that's why I'm kind of glued to that screen, because those are often very quick and you need to hop right in when that does happen. So um, value has moved up as we're speaking, by the way. So this little red line here is a value area high that was at. I'm going to go ahead and remove this line, by the way. So that value area high was at 4,200. Value has now shifted up. Balance has migrated up, and now the value area low is below 89 here. So I'm not really seeing that fake break look develop quite yet. So in fact, kind of the opposite. We're suggesting that we're going to keep trending higher, and that just happened in real time. So I wanted to point that out. Let's look at that macro chart. What was I talking about all week? The bounce off that POC. What usually happens when price goes and retests that POC, it shifts higher, it bounces higher and moves toward that value area high, which, as we'll see here, is now at about 428. And I did find that little picture that I was talking about yesterday for anybody who tuned in, the screenshot showing that volume profile behavior that I'm going to put into a little LinkedIn post here. And this is it. This is what I'm saying. So the one I'm talking about is number 4, when price comes down to retest that POC, it often rejects. So we were above the POC, we came and retested, it rejects higher, and then it moves toward that value area high. So perfect example of that. That's what I was looking at all week there, and that's why this is kind of textbook behavior of price action so far this week. And really that first stop, though, is going to be this gap. And since we may actually get near this gap today, let's get a read on it. So I'm going to go to and we're going to convert this to a level, by the way. So I'm going to go to my macro chart here real quick and see exactly where this gap is. I'm just using a different chart over here just to keep everything nice and clean. So stand by for a second, please. 421.22 on SPY. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the warm-up document. That is going to be super important. So again, that is 421.22 on SPY. 421.22 SPY. That is key. That is the gap. And that is, I think, the magnet if the bears can maintain the rally here. So that's the first stop. And then there's another gap above. I guess I'll put that on in case you have a really significant move today. But I'll do that if we do start to make that move. I'm not going to look at it quite yet. I just think that's far beyond that outlier expected move, so I don't believe that is as relevant quite yet. So we will see. That would have to be one of the biggest moves of the year for that to hit. So I wouldn't worry too much about that if you have any 430 short calls or something like that in the SPY. So yeah, so that's where I think we're aiming. That's going to kind of go retest that 4 standard deviation VWAP. Going to kind of retest, potentially setting up for a double top. There is a little LVN there, so we may see some resistance from the bears near that level. Yet what I really think happens here, I do think we move toward that 428 level, that 428 gap, or excuse me, that 428 value area high, and kind of cleaning up that gap on the way. Yes, sir, Mr. Juiceball. I don't know if you just heard about that gap that I was just talking about here, about 421.22 in the SPY is assuming that we don't get a turnaround before that. I think that is going to be the crucial key level for the day. So 421.22 in the SPY. I'm going to go ahead and bold that on this document because I think it's super important. So that's really what I'm watching on the macro chart. Bull's completely in charge. Otherwise, any pullbacks will likely be bought, and if not, we'll reevaluate. So what does a loss of the trend look like to me? Well, that's going to be back below 41.90 on the ES. We'll start to reevaluate, but until then, bull's in charge. Don't need to keep harping on it. It's pretty obvious, and you can see that as well with the volatility. Remember, we said, or I've been saying all week, 2020 was kind of that line in the sand for the bears, and not only have we crushed 2020, I'm going to go ahead and remove this level. We just slice right through it like butter. We are in free fall, nearing a new low on the year. So just a complete and utter bull domination. I didn't realize how steep this volatility sell-off was, and you can see it right there. Fear is, for now, leaving the market. So I'm just going to kind of, because I didn't realize how extreme that was, I'm going to go check out our VIX forward curve here and see if this is relevant. So I'll pull it over here. If you just go to CBOE, tradable products, VIX term structure, this is when I'm talking about the forward curve, this is what I'm looking at. And doesn't seem to be too much drama going on there at all, actually. It's not really moved at all. So short-term volatility is in free fall. Short-term bulls are in complete charge, if that's the proper grammar. And yeah, so I just wanted to check that out real quick. Hey, Mr. Dale. Welcome to the Puppet Show. Long time no see. I am almost finished here, and then I'm going to come hang out, just kind of going over what we're seeing in the charts here. I don't know if you heard about that SPY gap 421.22. I'm going to say it again. That is kind of the most important area, I think, today. I think that's going to be the magnet. And then below 41.90, we may see that turnaround. I just was pointing out here, volatility is in free fall, kind of nearing that low of the year. So we will see what happens there. I'm going to go ahead and add another level right here from the high earlier in this week, and we'll go from there. So let's look at one more chart. The TPO, as I said, is cray cray, as the kids say. So you do have that trendy look, potential developing double distribution. So watch these singles, watch for this consolidation near this level. If and when we do start to consolidate, I'm looking at my chart here. It seems that the bulls are gaining control of the auction. Well, I shouldn't say gaining control of the auction, building out new balance here. You saw that happen. Just to go back to our DOM, which is showing the 24-hour value. Let's get rid of these, clean it up a little here. Oops. If you look at that DOM, like I said earlier, value shifted up. So this value area high was at 4,200, and literally like 5 minutes ago, this whole structure shifted up. And now, like I said, I'm watching for a break of this 89 area on the ES to really suspect that we may be losing the trend. Until then, value shifted up. You're seeing the consolidation. We're building out that double distribution. We actually have a couple new levels that I'll add to the levels here. So you're going to have 41.87. It's going to be a nice little strong one if we do get a pullback down there. So if they do go retest that value area low, I'm actually going to say that level is 41.87. By the way, all levels on that warm-up document as I say them, so you don't have to remember remember because I'm spitting out a lot of information here. So they're on that warm-up document. So we're going to add 41.87. We're going to add a little pivot here at 42.05. So 42.05 is kind of that first level that the bears are going to want to conquer there. So yeah, you can see this area, this poor high, and this area of new resistance is going to correspond to that SPY gap, which is why I said it. I'm going to say it one more time, 421.22. If we do get that move to the upside and the bulls aren't too tired here to get above 42.12, for 421.22 on this SPY. Let's see what's going on in the chat here. Yes, it's Casual Friday. I feel as though I need to wear my game attire, my good old soccer jersey, because this is the type of action that I personally play for. So I'm in the zone in the game and ready to hopefully score some goals if the Bears don't spoil the party here. So interesting. So Mr. Juiceball is pointing out that there is usually a rotation before 1 p.m. Eastern on these holiday Fridays. So potentially looking for that. We'll see what happens around that single. We do have pretty good levels for today. Monday is a holiday, yep. And yes, Mr. Dale with the excellent jokes. Mr. Dale is a stand-up comedian for anybody who wants to look him up. Dale, do you have anything online of your lovely content, or does one have to go to a live show? It is not curling, OJ. I do not have the arm muscles for that type of activity. So, okay, yeah. So moving away from the TPO, I think we have a pretty good idea of what's going on. All those levels in the warm-up document. Really simple look. So we're just going to kind of wait and see what happens. Dale, I know that you mentioned you had those 4210 SPX calls. Today's outlier is beyond 4209.50. So we would have to have a real tail event here to close beyond 4209.50. So a little encouragement for your calls there if you still have them. I just wanted to point that out because I was pretty surprised how close we were to that outlier already. We're 10 points beyond it, and you don't very often see a close in that outlier range. In fact, I know that there's one day this year I can remember, but I cannot remember more than one. There may have been another, but even during the bull market, or excuse me, the bear market last year, the real bear market, if you want to call it that, there were not too many closes below that outlier level. So you're seeing a lot of activity right now. That's kind of why I just stuttered there. They're really trying to get OJ's rotation in there, and we'll see what happens. Really trying hard here. So this level, this 42.12 level, is also going to be important. And like I said earlier, I think beyond 42.12 here, if this is just consolidation as the bulls recharge, 421.22 on the SPY. So I've said that 50 times. I think that's sufficient. I think you get the point. That warm-up document is in the description of this video. I will keep it updated as the day goes on, and hopefully it's going to be a fun one. It looks like it's going to be a fun one. It's been a fun one so far. That's why I'm talking so fast, and I'm excited. So yeah, I recommend that you go check out Dale Perryman's comedy online. He's also short the 4230s, which seems like a pretty good position. So yeah, I hope everybody has a really good trading day. I'm going to just give my cute little plugs now. If you did like this video, please give it a like. That helps with that YouTube algorithm. My headphone turned off. That's how I know when I'm going too long, by the way, is the headphone automatically turns off. So yeah, so if you think I went too long, also give the video a like. That'd be great and still helps with the algorithm. So besides that, I'm popping on the Twitch at noon to get some nice electronic tunes to welcome this holiday weekend. Even though if you're like me, you probably don't care for these holiday weekends too much time away from trading. Yet we'll still welcome it and maybe do it to support our troops, I guess we'll say. Besides that, newsletter is going to come out in the afternoon, and I'd appreciate any engagement either in the comment section of this video, on the Twitters, or just kind of responding to that newsletter when it comes out. So I appreciate everybody hanging out. I appreciate you all roasting and otherwise having a party in the chat here. And besides that, see you all Tuesday and stay classy until then.